part 2 of the Justice series. Okay, so let's see. I tried making a first video and I got a call in the middle of it about my bank and there being like updates in the system, and I got an email, that was not actually accurate. And so, there's a few things from that. One, I had one of the most amazing conversations from the girl that was helping me, and she was absolutely hilarious. And we just had one of the coolest conversations. I love dealing with people like that. And, it's funny because we both saw in each other the same trait of, someone that has been through some stuff but never backs down. Always keeps going, doesn't quit, which is really nice, It's nice to, see more people like that. I know that there are a lot of people like that. I know that there are plenty of people out there like that. I guess I have always been like that, but I struggled with, for a very long time, the courage. Courage was one that I did not get until later on in life. We're going to talk about how I first started on my steps to courage. Okay. So, we're going to rewind. I'm going to go to the Ex-Husband Chronicles, which, nobody likes hearing about somebody else's ex. Let's be real. I don't really like talking about my ex. He's in the past. But my ex-husband plays a very vital role in a lot of what I learned. So, we're going to bring that bad boy up. Now, I met my ex-husband back in the military. We were in training together for security forces in the Air Force, and we got stationed together at the same base out in Germany. Now, we didn't get married until we had known each other for like a year, and I should have paid attention to all the red flags. There were a lot of red flags. I didn't know what red flags were back then, but once I started learning about red flags, he had a lot. But I can also say too that I had a lot of red flags too, so it's not like I was, a saint or anything. So, with that concept, back then, if I would have walked away when I saw the first red flags, whenever he was disrespectful in, checking out other women in front of me, even after I told him that I didn't like it. That right there is a definite disrespect. That should have been where I actually walked away, was in those moments. I didn't, because I didn't know any better, because my normal was that normal. At the time, I wasn't connecting the dots. But now that I look back, yeah, very much. As well as the fact that with my ex-husband, whenever we got married and we were living off base and we were in Germany, I had no friends, I had no family, I was alone. And therefore, it was very easy to manipulate and control. So, I really, that Munchausen syndrome, where you pretty much, you bond with your abuser and everything like that, that's exactly how it was. So, I then was pregnant with our oldest child, my 18-year-old right now, and because of the fact that I allowed so much disrespect early on in the relationship, it only progressed. It progressed to him cheating on me with one of his coworkers, as well as when I was pregnant with my oldest child, he did actually rape me while I was pregnant, forcefully. Again, I made the choice not to leave. I chose to stay. Why? Because I had nowhere to go, and I did not know where I could have gone. Fly back with what money? I wasn't working, so I had no money, and any money that we had, he was out drinking away. He would go out all night long on his days off, or he'd go out like all weekend, like on his days off, go out the whole entire break, and go out partying and spending their money, or spending his money. And then, at one point, if I told him that I did not like that he didn't keep in contact with me, that he didn't, talk to me, that he didn't, let me know that he was okay, because I was worried sick that he was, dead in a ditch somewhere, he would pin me down and choke me, or he would slam me up against a wall and choke me while I was pregnant. Shortly after I gave birth, and he went on unemployment, which was actually very nice, because I was so focused on raising our daughter that I couldn't think of anything else. Went and saw family, all of that fun stuff while he was deployed, and everybody got to meet the new addition to the family. Shortly after him coming back, things proceeded to be the same. He was out running around, sleeping around, and I knew. Anytime I confronted him, gaslighting, lying, all of that. Eventually, I got to the point of where I was able to sneak into the room, break into his phone, and find the pictures. At that point, I was pregnant with our second daughter, my 16-year-old. And with her, I had enough. So I contacted my family and had my brother come out to Germany and help pack up stuff, help move things. I then eventually, during that time, we were still going out and sightseeing and still going out and doing things. Still packing stuff up and, getting ready to move things, and I was gonna move back home and everything like that. So in that time frame, I believe you can't fly 6 or 7 months pregnant. I'm not 100% sure on that one. I don't remember. But you can't fly in your third trimester. I remember that. So my brother left at a different time. I took him to the airport, sent him off, and then I went to the airport alone, pregnant, with a not quite 2-year-old, 1.5, somewhere there. Flew back. Eventually, he saw what it was like to not have someone take care of every single thing, because that's what I did. I was a stay-at-home wife. So realize, anybody that does the stay-at-home wife gig, it is not worth it. When you are not making your own money, when you are pretty much financially dependent on this person, and they use that financial abuse on you, where it's their money and their house, you just live in it. So whenever we were married, I did everything. And when I mean everything, I did everything, like the dutiful housewife things. I cooked, I cleaned. He complained about my cooking, so I cooked. I did what I needed to get better at cooking, to appease him. I ironed all of his uniforms for him to go to work in. Everything. I cleaned the house. I did it all. I did the housewife thing. So, when I left and he had to take care of himself, he couldn't do it. And then he realized that the girl that he was running around with wasn't going to do those things. So, he came running back. And I took it back. I took him back. Because I didn't want to break up the family. Because in my family, we worked things out. That kind of mentality where you work through the hard things. No. These are not the kind of things you work through. You run away, you get away, you call for help, you get out in the dead of night kind of stuff. Because he was already doing the physically abusive things that I thought were normal because they were done to me as a child. So that was my normal. That was okay to me. That was my okay. Which is insane. Right? So, with that, we eventually go and move, and we have our second daughter here in Utah in our transit, and then moved to Washington State, where I was in the middle of getting my bachelor's degree in elementary education, where I was becoming a teacher. All during this time, I was still going to school. I started out going to school in Germany, and it's so crazy thinking about it, but I gave birth twice and moved twice, all in that time frame of while still going to college full time. I know, crazy. And dealing with my ex-husband and all that. So we get to Washington State, and eventually we have our third child, my son, and well, our son. But all again during this time, he still does the choking, still the yelling, the intimidation tactics, all of that stuff. And my whole family knows about this stuff. They know about it, but they don't do anything about it because they are ones that did it to me. They are the ones that abused me. So why would they care? They're actually enjoying it. Genuinely, they did. And they have no problem with it. They don't want to step in. They don't want to overstep their boundaries. Was one of the things that I heard from them numerous times. So then, later on, they don't want him back in the Air Force because he's just got way too many drunk situations. Too many things on record that they don't want him re-enlisting. So we gotta go back to Utah. We go move in with my family, and eventually he starts working for my family business, working for my father and my mother, and I go and I finish up, get my degree, and become a teacher. All the while, during this time, he can't run around and cheat anymore. He doesn't have those kind of connections anymore. I mean, he's still trying, but it's harder now. Then, during this whole entire time, he's still doing the psychology part of where no guy will ever want you with 3 kids and your age. Mind it, I'm in my 30s at this point. I'm in my early 30s, but no guy will ever want me with 3 kids and my age. As well as the whole intimidating, during this time, even, his dad, his stepdad, and his mom come and live with us for a while because they move from Alabama because he has cancer and they can't survive during that time, and so we give them a place to stay in the basement of our house. So they're living with us, not paying anything. And they helped out a little bit with some groceries and, with the kids a little bit here and there, and helping doing laundry. But we didn't really ask for a whole heck of a lot, doing some dishes here and there. During this time, there are plenty of drunken rages. Like my ex-husband, the longest I've seen him sober when we were married, the whole time we were married, the longest I've seen him sober is 9 months. That's it, 9 months. Couldn't cut it. Could not make it. Every tactic was used that you need to control me better. You need to ration it out better. Everything was me. Everything was you need to. No accountability whatsoever. None in the process of, hey, I have a problem, I need to get help. We were in and out. He was in and out of sober, he was in and out of the hospital multiple times because he was severely dehydrated. He's had to go to treatment and go through where the VA, where he's, been sober, and then he gets out and then he starts drinking again. He, will go in to treatment just for, to make a good, to look good, and then go right back to it. And it was always like, oh, well, I'll just drink beer from now on. Oh, well, I'll just have one shot. Oh, always something. And it was always on me to take care of him, to make sure he didn't go too far. It was always my fault. Always. So, during this time, when his parents are living with us, he has multiple drunken situations, like fights and stuff like that. His parents know that he drinks and that he's abusive. They know. He almost got, knocked out by his father for trying to do something, trying to raise his hand to his own mother. Albeit, what really makes me question things is, how come in all this time that you knew that he was doing that with me, nobody stepped up? Nobody said anything. Nobody did anything. You knew that he was acting this way around the kids, and you still didn't do anything. You still didn't do anything. Didn't say anything. Just, Danny, you shouldn't be doing that. Woman, that is your son. That is your son. And you are not taking responsibility and doing the right thing for how he's acting. You're just scolding him like a small child. Granted, he's not even acting like an adult, but still, you're not doing anything. Doesn't make any sense. So, during this time frame, finally, they're able to save up enough money to move out and get horses. Crazy how that works, because here we are footing the bill and paying for a lot of stuff, and go figure, they can afford horses. Crazy. Now, later on, whenever they're already moved out, this is where it just gets worse. It's worse. There were already reports, of having to come to the house by the police for drunken disorderlies, that kind of stuff. This is where everything starts to really go downhill. Really go downhill. So during this time, he wants to get involved in the swinger community. And because I am still at that point, that wife that will do anything to please him, to make him happy, to whatever. Plus, on that note, I'm gonna be really honest. I thought if he found some other girl and he wanted to get divorced and go for her, great. I can pawn her off on that. I can pawn him off on that girl. Straight up. But I was also in that era, that thing where I was sick and tired of dealing with him. I was sick and tired of sleeping with him. I was sick and tired. I wanted to make him happy so that I didn't have to deal with him. Because I was just getting so done with him. And so, here we go. We join up. He was already looking into it. He was already dealing with it. But because they have very strict rules in the whole process of it all, they will not let an outside male come in unless they're pre-approved in some way or they have a wife. And the wife has to be involved. Physically talking and involved. Because many men will join and say they have a wife, or they join without their wife's knowledge, and then they are you really surprised? I'm not surprised. But in that whole thing, this in turn starts a problem. There were guys that were interested in me, but the girls were not interested in him. Funny how that works. But girls don't like douchebags? What? So, that was whenever I first really started to break free from the mental where no guy would ever want you. No guy would ever want you. No guy would ever want you. That started to crack. That's where I started to realize that I was considered even desirable. Yes, it was just for, physical, but still, it was a nudge in the right direction of knowing that there was more for me out there. It was the baby steps. So, because of all of that, now, because of other guys wanting me, he became very abusive about it. Was always trying to tear me down verbally about how I was a slut, how I was a whore, how all of these things, telling me how, and I'm like, I'm doing this because you want to. What do you want? Make up your freaking mind. Every time. And then it would just cause massive fights. The arguments were just insane. I, in turn, this was something that I later I figured out, was the fact that, and this is some crazy ass shit. So, later did I realize that I had actually manifested in the swinger community because it was a direct connection to what I grew up with, where I was sex trafficked. So it was me repeating what I had already known, and it was past stuff coming up. It was a pattern, a past pattern that was repeating, that I wasn't seeing in the moment, because it's around age 30, 33-ish, give or take, when memories will start to surface. This is something I learned in treatment, is that they ask specific questions which correlate to, you know, if you've had any kind of like sexual trauma. And so it's around 30s that your memories start to surface. And so around that time is where I was at when memories were starting to come up. On top of the fact that I was working on becoming very physically fit, not in the smartest ways, because I was like way overdoing it in taking those over-the-counter energy, like the green tea extract stuff, and I was taking like that, and I was reducing my diet to like 1,000 calories, and I was doing insanity workouts and going running at the same, like all in one day, and I was, you know, drinking lots of caffeine, lots of coffee, and like I was doing it all the wrong way. So I was bringing up past trauma and recreating it in my life through the swinger community. But because of the fact that I struggled with severe social anxiety, I had to get drunk to be able to do any of that. So I would excessively drink, which also correlates to the connection of what I was doing when I was a young child. I was given alcohol to relax me, to be able to do the things that I did whenever I was being sex trafficked. So crazy how everything all interconnects. It's just, right? So here we are fighting and arguing, and I'm already starting to become a full-blown alcoholic with my ex-husband, who is also a full-blown alcoholic. During this time, I'm drinking to suppress the memories, because I'm already starting to have them while experiencing these things. And then on top of that, the way that our marriage was cracking, whenever we would go out and drink together, he was becoming more and more and more physically abusive, and very, very physically abusive, which I'm saying in the context of there were 6 domestic violence police accounts that I still have. I have my receipts that I have pulled from West Jordan. Those are just the ones that other people have called upon. Other people. I never followed through. Every time that he got taken away and went to jail, I bailed him out, or I didn't press charges. None of it. None of it. That man escaped so many charges. So many charges. Because I did not have the guts to stand up to him. I did not have the guts to speak up and speak out about what he was doing to me. Not once. I couldn't even get it out. I couldn't even tell a soul. I kept pretending for so long that we were in a happy, loving marriage, that this was just normal. For so long, I pretended. So during these times, There were so many times, like I cannot tell you how many black eyes, broken noses, and bruises all over my body. It got so bad to one extent I was hit in the ear on the side with a hammer. Right here. I still have the scar, as you can see my earbuds in for my phone. But I still have the scar from when I had to get stitches for getting hit in the head with a hammer by my ex-husband. What happened? I'm not going to go into the full long story, but afterwards, I took myself to the hospital. When I took myself to the hospital, he made sure he went with me so that I couldn't say anything. I lied and said that we were doing some remodeling down in the basement and there was a pipe that we moved a pipe and it hit me in the head. You know, looking back now, people knew. People knew. But I don't think anybody knew what to do about it. I don't think anybody actually knew how to help. But I also wasn't asking for help. That's the problem. Because I had so many people. I had the victim advocate places. I had the DCFS that came multiple times that sat there and said that I could get help, that, you know, that they had options. I didn't think that I could make it on my own. I did not think that I could. Like, that's how bad he brainwashed me to believe, and that's how bad I accepted those beliefs. It's not just the fact that he said them, I accepted them as truth. I believed that I would never be able to make it being a mother to 3 kids on my own. But here I am today, crushing it. Crushing it. Then, there's still more. There's still more. So during these times, whenever he would have his freakouts, my oldest daughter and I had a code word. I made sure to get them out of the room and downstairs whenever I saw he got to a point where he could not be handled very easily, like he couldn't be maneuvered, more or less. So the code was, how about you get your brother and sister and you guys go downstairs and have a sleepover. This is how my kids grew up. This is how they grew up. I still didn't leave. They heard all the fights. They saw all the bruises. They saw what happened. And I still couldn't leave. I still couldn't do it. I was still too scared. I remember one Easter. It was like an Easter morning. I had the biggest black eye. I called the only friend that I had, that I'd known since like 5th grade, who was never a friend. Called her up and asked her. I confided in her about the whole thing, everything. She knew. Called her up, went to her house after he just got carted off to jail. You know what she did? This girl works for DCFS. Not once did she make a phone call. Not once did she try and do anything. Not once. She then proceeds to tell me that she has church that Sunday and that she has signed up for an activity and she has to go, and that we have to go with her. So here I am, still sobering up, with the biggest black eye and no makeup to fix it, because I'm trying to borrow some of her makeup, but we don't wear the same makeup, and I'm trying to cover it up. And I am having to walk around that church with my kids that are still shook up about what's going on, and we're walking around there so that she can look like some damn saint. So she can parade us off like, look at how holy and noble I am. Seriously? It took a long time for me to realize that bitch didn't give two shits about me or my kids. She has hated me since we were in 5th grade. That was never a friend. So, and that's a whole other subject. We'll get on this stuff, because let's go. Let's talk about this. But with my ex-husband, on that note, I still never left. I still didn't leave. Still didn't leave. Still bailed him out. She later on said, my so-called friend, that she didn't want to ruin our friendship. She was afraid it would ruin our friendship. No. No. You enjoyed it. Especially with trying to parade us around. So, here we go again. Go down the line. So, even after getting a hammer to the head, still didn't go. Still did not go. I remember one time when one of the police officers came, and he was just like, you know, I'm amazed you're still alive. Most of these cases don't end out this way, because they had been there so many times. Still, that didn't break me. I couldn't leave. I was still stuck. I still could not leave. It wasn't until, shortly before, I knew something had to happen. I knew something had to happen. My son was acting out at school, and I mean bad. He was hitting the teachers. He was acting out. He was always in the principal's office. This is 1st grade. He was in 1st grade, and he was in timeout all the time. He was aggressive. He was insanely aggressive. But why wouldn't he be? He was learning from what his father was doing. He was just copying what he learned. He was just repeating the pattern that he saw from his own father. I realized that I needed to do something, but I, again, was still too scared. Still too scared. It was not until when my ex-husband went on a rampage, and it was around 2020. It was like 2019, December 2019-ish. He was going on a rampage, and it was bad. It was really bad. I couldn't get the kids downstairs in enough time. I was getting thrown around. At one point, I was thrown around and knocked out long enough for him to put hands on our kids. He threw 2 out of our 3 kids into the wall in our son's bedroom. And I was so disoriented. At one point, my daughter, my oldest daughter, who had a cell phone, an emergency cell phone, called my parents and told them about it. They knew the whole entire time about all of this that was happening, and they did nothing. They said, well, you know, she told us not to do it because she was so worried about what was going to happen to her and the kids if he knew that we stepped in. They could have done something. You've seen those videos of like parents on how they are, hold on, my PC's gonna die on me in just a second, hold on. I paused it right on 45:54. Freaking love it. Okay, so, you know those parents, like the dads, that you look at my daughter wrong and I will kill you? If you touch one hair on my child's head, I will beat the crap out of you, and they do. I didn't have that. Mine didn't give 2 shits. None of my parents cared at all. Why would they? They were my prior abusers. They were enjoying the show. They were glad that it was getting continued on. They were grateful someone picked up the torch. Because why would you allow your daughter and your grandkids to suffer like that? Why? Please tell me why. Anybody want to like add in the comments, you know, like how would you allow that if you yourself did not care? If you yourself, as a grandparent, as a parent, were already the very beginning abusers. Why would you even do anything? Because you sure as shit don't care. So, when that happened, they were not able to answer. It was, I believe it was my middle daughter that was able to get a message through Xbox or something of that sort, somehow, to my younger brother to tell him what was happening. And he was able to notify them, and they came rushing over and called the police, and he got hauled off to jail, and I was a complete basket case, and I was dragged drunken from the house to my parents' house. And that's where we lived until around mid-2020, before I even got up the courage to get a divorce. And I was still an alcoholic during that time. I was still drinking heavily. Because at that point, I was already a full-blown alcoholic. By that point, I was not a teacher anymore because I had lost that job due to my drinking. I had no job in between. Well, I had no job in between, and then I eventually started working for my family business, and he was working for the family business, and then he got fired for how he was being abusive. And then I was working for the business, and then I continued working for the business after we moved out. The kids and I then lived at my parents' house during this time. And that was about the time that I that was about the time that I finally got up the courage, with liquid courage, go figure, that I got the divorce. But it was also at the time that I started online dating, because in my head, no guy would ever want me with 3 kids my age. With 3 kids and being my age. No guy. So I better go get a guy. I better go find a guy that would want to be with me while I'm still young. And that also could help me take care of my 3 kids. Because I was thinking that. Because I did not think that I could do it by myself. Because in my mind, by the way that my mother taught me, and by the way that my grandmother taught me, was the fact that you needed to stay with a man that was an alcoholic, that was an abuser, all of that. You had to stay with them if you had kids, because you would never be able to make it on your own. My great grandma, or my other grandma on my dad's side, went from guy to guy with kids because she didn't think that she could make it. So here I was, continuing that curse, continuing that thought, that belief that I would never be able to make it on my own with children. Yet here I am today. Here I am today, fucking crushing it, kicking ass and taking names. Just saying. Just saying. We broke that curse. We broke that chain. That is no longer even viable. So, I remember that when I asked for the divorce, I still was not strong. I barely had the courage. Barely. And I remember my ex-husband telling me when he signed the paperwork, while he was living in the house that we used to live in, not paying for anything. I was paying for the house. I was still making the house payment. I was still making all of the payments for the house, the utilities, every single thing, because I knew that I needed to pay on that and couldn't let it go into foreclosure, because that was my only meal ticket out, was us selling that house. I knew it. It was my only way to break free. That was my saving grace. I knew that I needed to get that house sold. And I remember him telling me, people get divorced and remarried all the time. He did not believe it was real. He did not believe that it was going to last, that it was going to stay. At all. At all. He did not think. He believed that he had a hold on me, and that he could control me, and that he could come running back, because I let him numerous times. I allowed him to treat me the way that he treated me. I did not stand up for myself. Every time I said I was going to leave, I never left. I had no follow through. Nothing. I was no bark, no bite. I was a whimper. That's about it. That's about it. It was during this time that he had to go into treatment and everything like that, because, see, this is the because part, because he didn't go voluntarily. No. He went because of the fact that he was going to catch felony charges for throwing our kids. And so because of it, he did not want to catch those charges, and so therefore he got into treatment to expunge all of that, so that he wouldn't actually get any charges, so that they would be completely dismissed off his record. Which I honestly, I don't blame him. It's a smart thing to do. So, he decides to finally go into treatment, and then that way we can sell the house. And that is the start of a whole different journey. Whole different journey. That's the start of the journey with Matt, the ex-boyfriend after him. And that's going to be another story for another day. And so, Daniel Bryan Edwards, because let's be real, we're not going to sit here and, protect abusers. I'm not going to sit here and I'm going to be like, oh, well, I'm not going to say his name for privacy reasons. Hell no. Hell no. I will not protect someone that put me through so much. I will not sit here and be like, no, he's a good guy, just underneath it all. Hell no. Fuck no. That man deserves every single amount of karma that is coming to him. And he's already getting it. I never actually pressed charges against him ever, the whole entire time. I never got a restraining order against him the entire time. Honestly, I don't think that there's anything he really can do now. Maybe I will get one. I have no idea. I have no reason to. I have no actual reason that I would have to worry about him coming for me. If I did, then I would do something about it. At the same time, let the motherfucker come for me, please. Because I could not fight back. Every time that I was hit, every time that I was abused, I couldn't fight back. Do you want to know why? Because I was trained as a small child that I was not allowed to fight back against someone who loves me. I could not fight back against those I love. I could not fight anybody that I loved. So, no matter how bad I wanted to hit back, how bad I wanted to do something, I couldn't. I physically couldn't. Because of the programming that was wired so deep from childhood into my brain that I could not fight back. But oh, Lord, I broke that shit. That shit is gone. So, right now, I live in that energy of, I wish a motherfucker would. I wish somebody would. Please let me use my skills that I have not been able to use my entire life. Because all that pent up, not being able to fight back, is ready to fight back. Ready to go. Let's go. So, just saying. Just saying. Just saying. So, that's where I began my journey of having courage. It wasn't much. It was not much, but it was something. It was something because it's that little bit of something that you build upon. It's that little bit of breakthroughs of understanding that help you get to the next step. Now, I can't really say that I got justice. That's not actually true with the whole situation with my ex-husband, because there's more that's gonna like come up throughout the story, you know, throughout all of this series. But right now, where he's at and where I'm at, I don't care. Because I broke free. Because I am not married to that man anymore. I am free from dealing with that toxicity, that abuse, that financial, that sexual, that physical, that mental, that verbal, that emotional, all that abuse, every single abuse I have experienced from that man. Every single one of them. And he wasn't even the first. He was just the pattern. So, oh, yeah. Yeah, don't like me talking about it? Kiss my ass. So, I will have another story for you later on about all of this, the Justice series. That's what I'll call it. I have no idea. But we'll see. Right now, I'm sharing all of this because this is like, as I say, like bearing your testimony, or, you know, sharing your knowledge. I want anybody that has ever been in these situations, one, get out. There are so many ways out. There are so many options. There are so many videos of people online that are sharing tips and tricks and all that stuff of getting out. Be one of those people. Get out while you can, because do not be like me. Do not wait for something horrible to happen, because he probably would have killed me. I am only alive by the grace of God, because if I had not have turned my head the way that I turned it, I would be dead. I would be dead. If I had not turned my head in that exact moment, I wouldn't be right here right now. So, when I say get out, do not let it get this far. If you see these warning signs, don't rationalize. Just leave. Let my story be an example that you learn from, and you don't allow it to happen to you. But also take it as a beacon of hope that you can make it. That there is hope in recovery from the mental mindfuckery and the physical abuse. You can actually pull yourself out of it. You can actually survive and thrive after all of it. That you are not stuck in that pattern. You can actually beat it. So, don't do what Sheena did in how I kept going back and allowing and all of that fun stuff. But also do what Sheena did in healing yourself. and actually changing all of these things, all of these blocks, these patterns, these beliefs, all of this stuff, so that you don't continue the pattern. You don't keep making the same mistakes over and over and over and over again. You break the chain. So, I'm going to leave this right here, and I am going to go to bed because it's already like 11 o'clock at night, and I got to get up at 3. Well, I might push it back to 4 now, but you know, because I need some sleep, but I just needed to get this out. And I have been meaning to make another video, and I keep pushing it off and pushing it off and pushing it off and pushing it off. You know, I'll do it a little bit later, I'll do it a little bit later, and then here we are. I will learn from my lessons, I swear, eventually. So, again, still breaking patterns, still not perfect, you know, just gonna keep trying to become better and better with myself, as a better version of myself every day. So, I love you, and you are so strong. If I can do it, you can do it. I believe in you. I love you. Stay beautiful and stay blessed, because you are both beautiful and you are blessed. And thank God for all those tiny little miracles, and pray, or, you know, seek guidance, or, you know, ask for help from your spirit guides, your crew, whatever, in, you know, what's the next thing to do. You know, they're there for you. They're there for you. And yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and turn it off here. Love you.